No discussion of failed musical adaptations would be complete without Cats. Andrew Lloyd Webber's long-running Broadway hit was a cultural phenomenon, known for its catchy songs, elaborate costumes, and breathtaking choreography. However, the 2019 film version directed by Tom Hooper turned the whimsical stage production into an internet meme. The film's biggest misstep was its use of unsettling CGI to transform its star-studded cast into humanoid cats. The result was a jarring and often creepy visual experience that distracted from the music and narrative. Critics and audiences alike struggled to take the film seriously, with many pointing out that the digital fur technology seemed more like a half-finished video game than a polished Hollywood production. Beyond its visual flaws, Cats suffered from a lack of cohesion. The stage musical is already thin on plot, relying heavily on its characters and songs to create an immersive experience. The movie failed to capture this magic, instead offering a series of awkwardly edited musical numbers that felt disconnected. Despite a cast that included Judi Dench, Ian McKellen, and Taylor Swift, the performances were overshadowed by the bizarre aesthetic and muddled direction. While Cats may have achieved cult status for its unintentional humor, it remains a cautionary tale of how not to adapt a beloved stage production. Another Andrew Lloyd Webber classic that struggled in its transition to film was The Phantom of the Opera. Directed by Joel Schumacher, the 2004 adaptation had all the ingredients for success: a lavish budget, a timeless story, and Webber's iconic music. Yet, the final product left both fans and critics divided. One of the film's most glaring issues was its casting. While Gerard Butler brought a brooding presence to the role of the Phantom, his lack of vocal training was impossible to ignore. In a musical where the Phantom's voice is supposed to be his greatest allure, Butler's strained singing failed to do the character justice. Emmy Rossum's Christine, while visually captivating, also lacked the vocal depth and maturity needed to carry such an iconic role. The film's glossy production design, while impressive, often felt overly theatrical and artificial. The grandeur of the Paris Opera House, so integral to the story's Gothic romance, was reduced to a series of overly polished sets that lacked the grit and texture of the stage production. Schumacher's direction leaned heavily on melodrama, amplifying the story's soap opera elements at the expense of its emotional depth. While The Phantom of the Opera did find a niche audience, it remains a polarizing adaptation that failed to capture the haunting beauty of its source material. Jonathan Larson's Rent was a groundbreaking Broadway musical that captured the struggles and aspirations of a group of bohemian artists in 1990s New York. Its themes of love, loss, and resilience resonated with audiences, making it a cultural touchstone. Unfortunately, the 2005 film adaptation failed to recapture the raw energy and emotional impact of the stage production. One of the film's major issues was its decision to retain much of the original Broadway cast, despite many of the actors being significantly older than their characters. While their performances were heartfelt, the age disparity made it difficult for audiences to fully believe in their struggles as young, idealistic artists. Additionally, the film's sanitized portrayal of New York City undermined the grittiness and urgency that defined the original musical. Director Chris Columbus, known for family-friendly fare like Home Alone and Harry Potter, was an odd choice for such a raw and edgy story. His direction lacked the boldness and intimacy needed to bring Rent to life on screen, resulting in a film that felt more like a nostalgic tribute than a vibrant adaptation. Despite its loyal fan base, the Rent movie remains a missed opportunity to translate one of Broadway's most iconic shows into a cinematic masterpiece. Rob Marshall's Nine was an adaptation of the 1982 Broadway musical, which itself was based on Federico Fellini's classic film 8 and a Half. With an ensemble cast featuring Daniel Day-Lewis, Marion Cotillard, Nicole Kidman, and Penelope Cruz, Nine seemed poised for greatness. However, the film's convoluted narrative and underwhelming musical numbers left audiences unimpressed. The story of Nine follows Guido Contini, a famed Italian director struggling with creative block and personal turmoil. While the stage production uses this premise as a springboard for introspective and dynamic musical numbers, the film failed to strike the same balance. Many of the songs felt shoehorned into the narrative, disrupting the flow of the story rather than enhancing it. Day-Lewis, known for his intense and transformative performances, seemed miscast as Guido. His lack of musical experience was evident, and his subdued portrayal lacked the charisma needed to anchor the film. Meanwhile, the female characters, who should have been the emotional core of the story, were often reduced to little more than glamorous set pieces. Despite its lavish production design and high-profile cast, Nine fell flat, earning mixed reviews and underperforming at the box office. It serves as a reminder that even the most talented filmmakers and actors can't save a project lacking in focus and cohesion. Michael Bennett's A Chorus Line was a groundbreaking Broadway musical that celebrated the lives and struggles of dancers auditioning for a Broadway show. Its innovative structure, which combined personal monologues with high-energy dance numbers, made it a sensation. However, the 1985 film adaptation directed by Richard Attenborough failed to capture the magic of the stage production. One of the film's biggest missteps was its decision to alter the narrative's focus. While the stage version highlights the individual stories of the dancers, the movie shifted its emphasis to the romantic subplot between Zach, the director, and Cassie, a former lover auditioning for the show. This change diluted the ensemble-driven nature of the original and sidelined many of the characters' compelling stories. The choreography, so integral to the stage production's success, also suffered in the transition to film. The intimate immediacy of live performance was replaced with uninspired cinematography and editing that failed to capture the energy and precision of the dancing. The film's pacing was uneven, and its attempts to recreate the emotional impact of the stage production often fell flat. While A Chorus Line remains a beloved Broadway classic, its film adaptation is largely forgotten, serving as a cautionary tale about the challenges of translating stage magic to the screen.